The Animated Anarchy series presents the Animated Showdown.
What's up, everybody? We are here on your lunch break. It is Wednesday afternoon as you are listening to this, and Saturday night as we're recording it. But this is the Animated Showdown, part of the Animated Anarchy series. This is episode 12, and this is right now, at least until somebody takes another vacation. This is the last time I will be judging because Eric will be back on Saturday. So we are back to, one word.
Normal.
Well, I was going to say 1 or 2 word answers from Eric, and every time it's like, Eric, expand. So
Fair.
we're going to be back we'll be back to that. All right, but of course I am your host, Dutchie, joined as always by Sean.
Hola.
Wildcard Dave.
You know it.
And today's matches are Promise Neverland versus Dan to Dan. So we're starting it off with an anime battle. Then we have Recess versus Codename Kids Next Door. I don't know why I didn't make this the main event after watching both shows.
You can always make it the main event.
Yeah. We could.
Yeah, we could always switch it.
Yeah. So you want to do that? You want to put Fat Albert and Schoolhouse Rock on second?
Yeah,
Sure.
I think Recess
I agree.
and Kids Next Door deserves the time.
Yeah, because they're going to need it, because that's what we're going to be taking the most amount of time on. Also, Hong Kong, PHOOEY, and Gravedale High. So now we switched it on the fly. Recess and Codename Kids Next Door is going to be the main event. Fat Albert versus Schoolhouse Rock is going to come on second. So, Sean, your mom got bumped from the main event, but it had to be done.
She's had quite a few, though.
Yeah. So, all right. So what's going to happen? We're going to run the randomizer in a bit. We're going to find out what our 5 categories are. I think we're begging for one of them not to be a certain category that I'm not going to mention on air, because then it'll jinx us and we'll end up with the damn thing. And we're going to get those 5 categories. Best of 5. 3-0, you get 30 points. 3-1, 20 points. 3-2, the show gets 10. The winner gets 10. Loser gets 5. If the show is swept, then they lose 10 points. So let's go ahead. Let's get the randomizer up here. All right, what do we want?
Animation.
I'm not even going to bother answering that because of last week.
Yeah.
You
All right.
already know which one I don't want.
Yeah. I think we all know that. And everybody can see the screen, right?
I would really like theme song, honestly.
We haven't got that in a while.
We haven't gotten to it in a while.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Everybody can see the screen?
Yep.
All right, here we go.
I'll take it.
Yes. I mean, we didn't get what Dave wanted, but we didn't get what we didn't want.
Yep.
All right, so we are going to enjoyment.
That one I like a lot.
Yeah, it's because it's just which one you prefer to watch.
It's the easiest one to answer.
So, overall enjoyment, originality, fan base, voice acting, and humor. And by the way, getting overall enjoyment, like, not that we really have to justify our answers, but this is one of those categories to where people can't get mad because, we are allowed to pick what we like.
Which really messes up my answer for the finale, for the main event.
Yeah.
That makes it so much harder.
Well, yeah, because now it's just like you really have to pick one.
It's just, this is going to be a good one.
Yeah. I am glad that we are going to end on that one because I feel like that is, worthy of the main event spot. especially since all three of us had admitted that we had so much trouble with it. All right, and then... Okay, so we are going to start with the Promised Neverland versus Dan to Dan. We're starting off with the anime battle. And we start with overall enjoyment. Easy enough. And, all right, Dave, which one did you enjoy more?
I'm going to have to go with Dan to Dan here. I just thought it was more enjoyable all the way around. I like their concept of, the arcs of which they develop. Without getting into other categories, it's kind of hard. But I think they really did a good job in Dan to Dan. I liked it, and I thought it was just a little better than Promised Neverland.
Yeah. Sean, you go next.
I agree. I like Dan to Dan a little bit more here. I think the story's good. The animation's pretty cool. It's a little different art style of an animation than I've seen in a while, which is awesome. It kind of reminds me a little more of like a K-pop type of animation, if you know what I'm talking about with the new K-pop Demon Slayers. Demon Hunters, thank you. Yeah. My son watches that. So
has he seen the movie?
No. He only watches the K-pop because of the music.
Okay.
He dances to it.
Aunt Sharon has had the movie on several times over the last, month or so.
Yeah, we haven't watched the movie at all. But no, Dan to Dan to me, I just enjoy it like a little more.
Yeah. I also went with Dan to Dan. I really like this show. It is. I don't know if I'm necessarily going to say it's my favorite anime. I got to keep watching it, but it's up there. It's up at the top for me. So all right, Dan to Dan is up 1-0. Originality is next. Who had the more original concept? I'll go first on this one, and I went with Dan to Dan because I feel like with Promised Neverland, it always seems to be one of those like, somebody is not who they seem.
Fair.
Right. I feel like we've seen that so many times, and I feel like with Dan to Dan, which I wish that
it was Dan to Dan was definitely a little different. It was like aliens and ghosts, compared to like demons.
Like and again, I'm the cartoon guy. Dave is the anime guy, but I would recommend this to people. Like this, and by the way, it's also newer. Like the second season just happened.
Yep.
So, Sean, why don't you go ahead and go next?
I went with Promised Neverland. And this might get us canceled. I think it's just original because what kind of group of orphanage children don't try to escape the orphanage?
I mean, he's not wrong.
I mean, I'm sorry to say it.
Has nobody ever watched Punky Brewster?
Dan to me is like I've only watched like an episode, so I can't really, classify a better answer for that one. And I just, to me, it's Promised Neverland. It's original because a lot of anime are about demons and, kids trying to escape an orphanage.
Yeah.
So.
All right, Dave, you're breaking a tie.
Yeah, I'm going with the one that's a little more unpredictable with its plot twist and, with the creatures, the weird creatures that come up that you don't expect, and that would be Dan to Dan. Promised Neverland, I feel like after the first season, it falls off hard. They really rush things. They made the plot too simple and stuff. Like their first season, their first arc was good. It was good. Like if they kept that up, I probably would have picked Promised Neverland, but they didn't. They fell off, and it just after season 1, I don't like it. So because of that, I'm going with Dan to Dan.
Okay.
Its originality is great with the aliens and the ghost as well, compared to your typical anime that usually has demons.
Yeah. All right. So Dan to Dan is up 2-0. One more, they get a sweep, and we're heading into fan base. Who had the bigger fan base? Dave, I'm going to let you start.
Oh, this one's tough because Dan to Dan's relatively newer, but I think because of Promise Neverland's failure to make a coherent seasons after season 1, I'm giving it to Dan because the fans in Promise Neverland, it fractured after season 1, I believe, and I think currently Dan has a stronger and more positive fan base.
Okay. All right. Sean, are you looking up your answer?
No, I'm sorry. I was looking at something else unrelated to today. Fan base. Yeah, I have to agree with Dave here with Dan to Dan. Everything that I looked up about Promise Neverland was just disappointing.
Yeah.
And so, and I think Dan to Dan, even being newer, is cultivating a lot of new viewers just because of how original it is, but how different it can be.
Right.
And it's written well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To me, I can't get over the fact of the animation of it, the artwork of it. It's just so much more vibrant than a typical anime you would think of. It's like a great mix between colorful and dark.
Right.
And sorry, all the top tier animes currently are more in the, either they're all a very light animation or they're very dark. They're never kind of in between, other than a select few.
Right.
So.
By the way, I should mention Promise Neverland in the division of Anthony Visco, Dan to Dan in the division of Blaine Zavala. I also went with Dan to Dan, so it's going to sweep here. My reasoning was it's a lot fresher in everybody's mind. So
Okay.
that's why I went with that. Now, Dave, we talk about the big three all the time. What is the current big three in anime?
Well, right now you got two generations debating against each other about the big three. So my generation, our big three because it's generational.
Yeah.
So my big three is Naruto, One Piece, and Bleach.
Right.
These newer ones, the big three of nowadays, where they're trying to say, oh, these are the new big three, would be like Jujutsu Kaisen and maybe shoot, I'm drawing blanks. Hold on.
Solo Leveling?
Yeah, Solo Leveling. And then there's another one on my tip of my tongue. There's a couple that go in that third spot that they interchange, I believe.
Okay. What are the odds that Dan to Dan can make that list at some point?
I mean, if they keep up with their story and keep writing as well as they are and keep, cultivating the fans like they are, I think it has a chance. It just depends how long it goes, how many seasons it has.
Yeah. I like what I'm seeing right now.
Yeah, it's very interesting, and it definitely catches your attention.
Yeah. By the way, Sean, I knew what you were doing. I knew what you were looking at.
I know, but I can't say it 5 days later.
Yeah. But yeah. But I clicked on it, and so I knew that's what he was doing. All right. So Dan to Dan wins this 3-0. They get 30 points. Promise Neverland loses 10. We are going to move on to the next matchup, which is not Recess and Codename Kids Next Door. That got pushed to the main event for good reason. And we move on to Fat Albert and the Cosby Kids versus Schoolhouse Rock. By the way, when I made this match, I thought it was going to be a lot more difficult. And then I watched Schoolhouse Rock and remembered what it was.
Right.
And
the Bill of Rights brought me back so many times.
Yeah. And by the way, I'm not dissing Schoolhouse Rock. It did the job for a lot of people back in the day because it was a good buffer, which we'll get into that. But Fat Albert and the Cosby Kids in the division of Sean's mother, Bonnie Fedchek, Schoolhouse Rock in the division of Ryan Barber. Overall enjoyment is the first category. This explains itself. Which one did you enjoy more? Sean, why don't you go ahead and go first?
Yeah, I like the Adventures of Fat Albert here. So very enjoyable show, just because it's very comedic, situational. And Schoolhouse Rock is just like an educational thing. Nothing wrong with that. I actually enjoyed that too. But I was laughing and enjoying watching Fat Albert more because it was funny, and the stuff the characters get into and the situations are just iconic at sometimes. Yeah. Bill Cosby slays the role. Obviously made it an iconic role.
Yeah.
But now he's.
And by the way, you can learn a few lessons from that.
Yeah.
From that. No.
Fat Albert also
maybe
had like those
flipping something in a drink or something.
It was like one of those shows, like it was a cartoon family show before like live action family shows like Family Matters and stuff.
Yeah.
It almost felt like that was that type of show that led to like actual live action shows, or live recorded, I should say.
Right.
Could say it led to jail time too.
Well, I wasn't going to, Dave, because of the type of show.
Family show.
That's probably why
I just said jail time.
Yeah. Well, Bill Cosby unfortunately did ruin a lot of people's childhoods by what he did, but anyway.
Yeah. No condolences to that man.
Yeah. Yeah, it can't really. Anyway, Dave, you're up next.
Yeah, I'm going on the other side. I like Schoolhouse Rock better. I like their catchy little tunes, their educational lyrics that they have. I'm not a big fan of Fat Albert and the Cosby Kids.
Okay.
I never was a fan of Fat Albert, and I don't know why. It's just something I couldn't really get into. I didn't really enjoy it like that.
They had 3 family members as casted to their show that I can see.
Fat weird. Albert?
Yeah, Lou Scheimer, Erica Scheimer, and Jay Scheimer.
Wow.
I'm probably butchering their last name. But that's crazy. I've never seen 3. I don't know if they're. I would assume they're siblings. It's all the same spelling.
Yeah.
Kind of look alike, creepy and stoic.
Yeah. All right, I'll break the tie on this one. I went with Fat Albert. I just think it was because of kind of the show Schoolhouse Rock was. Now, for a lot of people that don't know exactly what we're talking about, which technically would have been these 2 guys before I had them start watching all this stuff. Schoolhouse Rock was that cartoon that would come on in between shows on Saturday morning and do a 3-minute song.
Yeah, it's short.
A short 3-minute song. It usually was a song or like something like that. It was a bumper in between the 2 cartoons. So after a cartoon ends, they air something from Schoolhouse Rock, and then they go to the next cartoon. Now, it ran for a long time, but I'm going with Fat Albert here just because I felt like there was more to it, and I did enjoy watching the episodes. So Fat Albert gets the draws first blood here. We go to originality. Who had the more original concept? And I actually went with Schoolhouse Rock because there were a lot of shows where like you had the group of friends, but there wasn't a lot of cartoons that were just based on music at the time. So I feel like Schoolhouse Rock was more original. And Sean, we're going to go to you.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think Schoolhouse Rock was more original. It's just something like...
Was it one of the first cartoons that brought like pop music, rock music type deal to educational cartoons?
Educational, yeah. I think.
Educationally. But I like how they would just add the quick snippets of it. It wasn't anything overcomplicated. You know, Fat Albert at times felt like, I don't know, somewhat unnecessary in some of their episodes, just some of the stuff they would do or talk about. So,
yeah.
And you don't see the Bill Wrights jamming out anywhere else. So
No.
True that.
Whatever's
Dave,
left of it.
Dave, you're up next.
Yeah, I went with the Schoolhouse Rock here. I just think bringing in some pop music to get, with like doing the lyrics and educational songs for children, I feel like they did a really fantastic job. The Conjunction Junction song, that you guys said, the I'm Just a Bill song, they were great. And I thought they did a fantastic job here. While Fat Albert and the Cosby Kids did bring a culture appearance to, to that culture, but I just don't think it outweighs what Schoolhouse Rock did.
Right. No, I 100% agree. All right, fan base is up next. And this one, I think, was a little more difficult because you're dealing with shows that started 50 years ago. So because I found it difficult, Dave, you're going to start.
I went with Fat Albert and the Cosby Kids here. I think this is a landmark of a show. I feel like it captured a lot of people's attentions. When you name the name Cosby or Fat Albert, you mention that, people know who you're talking about. If you mention Schoolhouse of Rock, a lot of people might not know what you're talking about right off the bat until you give them some information about what you're talking about, like the songs and so forth. So I went with Fat Albert here.
Okay. All right, Sean.
Same. I think the fan base is just way too large for Fat Albert, and Schoolhouse Rock, it wasn't, I guess, a complete show. So it's just like if you were able to ever catch it in between whatever shows you were watching, you would get to see it, but not a lot of people do. And I also don't think it was that memorable of a thing because of how short the clips were. And I mean, Fat Albert's just iconic, known everywhere. I mean, from this show to the small movie they made with what's his name?
Kenan Thompson.
Kenan Thompson. Thank you. I remember it was Kenan. I was going to say Keen Peele for some reason, but no. Just from that, he did good. I mean, the only thing that really tarnishes Fat Albert's reputation is what Cosby did. Yeah. So, but I don't think that should take away all the credits from
from the show itself.
From the show itself, yeah. Thank you, Dave.
No, it's still an iconic show, no matter what happened. Because
I mean, hey,
yeah.
Very simple words, just say it some quirky way and legendary.
Yeah. I also went with Fat Albert. Again, just the fan base back then was, huge. Fat, if you want to put it that way. But yeah, I mean, and a lot more people, I think, remember, Fat Albert, and it might have to do with the movie too. All right, they're up 2-1. They can win the next category here. The next category is voice acting. Kind of unfair. But Sean, you're going to start it.
I'm sorry, which one was it?
Voice acting.
Voice acting.
Oh. Fat Albert. I think that's just an undeniable thing.
Yeah.
And it doesn't just go just because of who the characters were. I think it reflects a lot of, again, how Schoolhouse Rock wasn't an actual show.
It wasn't really dialogue.
Yeah, I mean, it was the people they would get to sing and the dialogue of the lyrics of the songs they were doing were great. Yeah. But it's not enough to say, okay, it's better than a whole complete series.
Right, because you're not you're not creating a character, bringing people to enjoy this
nothing
character.
to it. They're hot, you got a singing Bill of Rights. You got, Plop, you got a singing engineer.
Yep.
Cosby Show, you had, Fat Albert, you had his group of friends, and everybody kind of like elevates each other in a certain way. And I think, obviously Bill Cosby at the time was a legend. And
Yeah.
I'm sure there was a couple other ones, but not that I'm fully aware of, because obviously this was not in my time frame.
Yeah. Dave,
But I'm sorry, go ahead.
Or no, go ahead, Sean. You can finish.
I was going to say, even though it was like 20 years or 21 years before I was even born, it's still, obviously, I still know more about this show than Schoolhouse Rock, and that's because of the actors that partook in the show.
Right. All right, Dave, go ahead.
This one was kind of tough for me because, musical vocals are pretty hard to do, and you have to be good to make a song that people enjoy to listen to. But that's not dialogue to me. That's just a song, and I feel like it's harder to do dialogue and get people to captivate around a character and get them to like a character because of the voice acting. So I think Fat Albert takes this one.
Okay. Yeah, and I agree. I also went with Fat Albert. And here's the thing. And by the way, no disrespect to Schoolhouse Rock, and this is where, because Eric's the one that puts Schoolhouse Rock on the board to be in this thing. If you look at and you guys, have the books that I gave you before we started this thing. Schoolhouse Rock is in both of those books because it talks about how, it played a huge part in Saturday morning cartoons. So it's, it belongs in this thing because it played a huge part, but it wasn't an actual show. It was a short, but then again, so was Looney Tunes. But this was just like little interim musical numbers that, could kind of, that had some, educational value to them. Fat Albert was just, better because, it's more iconic. It's more memorable. So Fat Albert. Huh?
Hey.
Yeah. So Fat Albert is going to win this one 3-1. They're going to get 20 points out of it. Schoolhouse Rock does not lose any points, but they don't gain any either. Now we're going to move on to another one that these shows are not. Hong Kong Phooey versus Gravedale High.
They're not superstar shows. We'll just say that.
No.
Even though one of them was made by a superstar company back in the day in Hanna-Barbera. Which, and by the way, Hanna-Barbera, I always talk about how they were the kings of cartoons. But they made some stinkers. Like Flintstones is iconic, Scooby-Doo is iconic, even though it got swept in its first matchup here. Jetsons is iconic to some people, and there's some, Smurfs is iconic. But they made some shows to where it's just like, they needed somebody needed to check their cup to see how much booze was in there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And by the way, both of these shows are Hanna-Barbera. It's a Hanna-Barbera battle, which I almost glossed over, and then I remembered it. It's like, oh my God. All right. Hong Kong Phooey in the division of a gentleman named Shane. I don't know what his last name is, and I don't work with him anymore, so I can't ask him. And Gravedale High is in the division of Kelly Peranian. Her name is hard to pronounce. Eric knows her, but he won't be able to pronounce it. He can barely pronounce her first name. So, all right. Overall enjoyment. Sean, we'll put you through the ringer first.
Overall, give me 1 second there. I have Hong Kong Phooey.
Okay.
it was. I liked it just a little more. I thought it was funny watching a kung fu dog smooth talk his way through fighting.
Yeah.
It was just different too. Like I haven't, I never saw anything kind of like that, and for being that old of a show, it was so enjoyable to me. So
yeah. Now, I went with Gravedale High, and the reason why I just felt like it was a better watch. I mean, Hong Kong Phooey was okay, but Gravedale High to me, I thought was the better watch. So, Dave, you're taking Sean's gimmick again.
Alrighty. This one was kind of tough for me. But I like the ones that are a little more character driven, I feel. And that's Gravedale High to me. I feel I like the monster themed humor, and they bring some references from the 90s into the show as well. So I do enjoy that as well.
Yeah. All right, so Gravedale High, gets the first category. It does a lot better than what Galaxy High did a few weeks ago. Galaxy High, probably one of the worst shows we've done. Originality is up next. How original was the concept? I'm going to go first on this one because I had Gravedale High, mainly because of the fact that you've had cartoons before that have had characters that have superhero alter egos.
Yeah.
So Gravedale High, this is the first of its kind of a high school full of monsters.
Yeah.
So I went with Gravedale High on this one. I'm not sure if this is where my appreciation of Gravedale High ends. We'll figure that out later. Dave, you're going to go next.
Yeah, no, I agree with you there, Doug. We've seen the well-worn superhero formula a ton. Gravedale High doesn't fit that formula, and it's a little unique.
Yeah. All right, Sean, go ahead.
No, I agree with both of you. Gravedale High should win this one here. Hong Kong Phooey just about played out.
Yeah. All right, so this one. Oh, I wish we wouldn't have gotten this category for this. Fan base. They're both Hanna-Barbera, so it's kind of hard to, give one over the other because they were both part of that Hanna-Barbera family, but, they were more distant cousins than anything. Sean, why don't you go first?
Oh, man. I don't know. I had this one at 50-50.
I could go first if you want.
I'm gonna give it to Hong Kong Phooey. I think it just molds into that timeline where it's a little more likable. I don't really know how to explain it. I would have just put me down for Hong Kong Phooey.
All right.
That was a hard one for me.
Yeah, I went for Hong Kong Phooey here as well. I think it has a larger and more dedicated fan base. From what I've read about it online, and yeah, that's pretty much it because it's before my time, so I really had to just look up and see their fan bases, look at their merch sales and stuff like that to see which had more fans and kind of calculate it. I mean, they both only aired for one season?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think Hong Kong Phooey's a lot more remembered because
Nostalgia.
It was
nostalgia and
time of Looney Tunes rise with love.
And Gravedale High also aired in Gravedale High and Galaxy High, I think, were around the same time. So it's also around the same time that you had other high school shows out there. I talked about that's why, Galaxy High wasn't that memorable because, NBC had this obsession with airing shows about kids in high school. I also went with Hong Kong Phooey. Or I think I already said that. Never mind. So, all right, Hong Kong Phooey gets it. It's 2-1. And we move on to the next category, which is voice acting. And Dave, we're going to start with you.
Yeah, I got this one going to Gravedale High. I just think they have a more talented cast.
Yeah, they got Tim Curry and Rick Moranis in it.
Exactly. They got names. And Ricky Lake.
Yeah.
So, Sean, who you going with?
Gravedale High. Just a lot, I think, what Dave said, just a lot more talent.
A lot more talent and bigger names.
Yep.
That's one of the reasons why, like, you know, we can go back to a few weeks ago, Captain Planet versus Hulk Hogan's Rock and Wrestling. Captain Planet won the voice acting category because of the big names that they had for the first few seasons of the show. When you have Whoopi Goldberg and Jeff Goldblum and Meg Ryan and you know, a few others that it escapes me, they just, you know, it's too talented of a voice list. So, all right, a 3-1 win for Gravedale High. So Gravedale High is going to get 20 points. Hong Kong Phooey gets no points. And we move on to the main event, which is only going to get even more difficult, but in a good way. As it is Recess versus Codename Kids Next Door. Recess in the division of Mike Bianco. And Codename Kids Next Door in the division of Jimmy Morrison. We start with overall enjoyment. And Dave, we start with you.
This one's freaking hard for me. Because I enjoyed both shows quite a bit. I have a lot of these categories going 50-50 in my head. But I think what I enjoyed more is Codename Kid Next Door. And that's because of the little action scenes that they got going. I like the treehouse thing. I like number 4 a lot for some reason. So I'm going with Codename Kids Next Door here.
Okay. I'm going to go next because I picked Recess. Again, I'm with you. I really liked both, but Recess a little more because that kind of Kids Next Door kind of came out as I was starting to kind of like focus more, not necessarily focus because I've always been into cartoons, but I didn't really watch it as much as I watched Recess. So I like both, but Recess just gets a little bit of an edge on this one. So we know what that means.
Yeah, I loved both shows. I'm going to give it to Kids Codename here.
Okay.
I liked Recess because it was kind of more like relatable.
Yeah.
I like Kids Codename Next Door because it's just, I don't know, to me at the time it was just so different of a show to ever see. There wasn't really any shows out there like it.
Yeah.
And it was enjoyable. It was like, you know, it's suspenseful, emotional, like somewhat action packed, and at the time I liked that a little bit more. So it pains me to say, but Kids Codename.
All right. So Codename Kids Next Door is going to get the first category here. Now, this is the second time in about 3 weeks that it has been Disney versus Cartoon Network. And a couple weeks ago, no, it was just last week because we had American Jake Long versus Billy and Mandy.
Oh, yeah. Grim
And
Adventures.
Billy and Mandy, I think, and Cartoon Network edged out on that one. Billy and Mandy got the win, I believe. All right, we go to originality. Who had the more original concept? I have it where I gave it to. I gave it to Recess because there have been show. I feel like that was more of an original concept, just based on the fact that we have had kids be secret agents in cartoons before. So I don't remember seeing a lot of cartoons about kids going to recess.
Because at that time, it was there. Maybe Magic School Bus was the only close comparison to it,
Maybe.
cartoon-wise.
Yeah. By the way, we have that coming up in a battle in the third set of matches, which will be a while from now. But there was actually one that you made, by the way, Sean.
I like to see it.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, is that the one that I have to do?
Where you're the host, yeah.
Okay. I gotta prepare.
Yeah. We got plenty of time.
Yeah.
All right. Sean, why don't you go next?
No, I agree. I have to give it to Recess on this one. It's just, it's too original to ignore.
Yeah.
It's a great show about kids in school, what they deal with in school, and waiting to go to recess.
Yeah.
So its name Kids Next Door is more of like an episodic show of kids just getting into shenanigans with their imagination.
Right.
So, not too much originality there.
Right. Dave, you're up.
I don't think either one had really good originality here. I feel like kind of both concepts have been done before. We've seen kids in school. We've seen kids that are spies before. So this is another 50-50 for me. I'm going Codename Kids Next Door, though. I like their battle against tyranny of adults and teens and stuff like that. I like the treehouse thing and their different gadgets they use and make. I think that's pretty unique. So I went with Codename Kids Next Door.
They really did have a dope treehouse.
Yeah, they did. I like that treehouse.
Yeah. I kind of wish I had one. All right.
Same.
Fan base is the next category. By the way, we are tied 1-1. Fan base is up next. Who had the bigger fan base? This was kind of difficult because of, both shows were kind of riding off the fan bases of their networks. But I think I got the signal, so Dave, you're up first.
I think Codename Kids Next Door takes this one. It's had an active online presence lately with a growth of about 12%, of July 2025 or 2024, I believe, where it's becoming relevant again. I'm not seeing the same with Recess. I think Recess is more nostalgic, but I see the fan base for KND really being more active, and they're growing. So I do believe they have a nice cult following, and I think because of that, they take this.
All right. I'm going to go in the opposite direction. I went with Recess just because, again, I kind of equated it to the Disney versus Cartoon Network, and I felt like at the time, Disney had the bigger fan base, and especially I think they have it now because Warner Brothers Discovery is trying to kill Cartoon Network. So, again, slight edge, but I gave it to Recess. So we know what that means.
Fan base. Why do you do this to me?
Because we love you.
That's a hard one. I have Recess winning this one by a very short margin, just because I think it was one of a kind for the era that it came into, and was just more captivating because it was, never saw anything about school cartoon wise back in that day as much. And so I feel like, especially with parents and kids that could relate to that age group that the characters were in the show, that it's just a lot more popular.
All right.
I
So
think it's Recess.
Recess is going to win this category. They are up 2-1. They can win it with the next category, which is voice acting. Sean, you're going to start instead of finish.
I have Kids Codename winning this voice acting one, just simply because of, I think it was more dimensional than Recess was. It had a vast range of like emotions, which I always try to pay attention to. And I think the cast did a great job, trying to resemble that age group and that quirkiness and that, imaginative state.
Right.
Oh yeah.
So Recess wasn't bad. I just think it was so relatable dialogue wise. Like they kind of kept that dialogue to the genre. And, Kids Codename did the same thing, but they had that up and down range of emotion.
Yeah.
So
all right, Dave, you're up next.
Yeah, I'm going with Codename here. They have great voice actors. Mark Hamill has lent his talents to the show. You got Cree Summer, who did Tiny Toon Adventures and Inspector Gadget and Rugrats.
She was Susie Carmichael in
Yep,
Rugrats.
Susie Carmichael. You got Maurice that did Pinky and the Brain. Yep. You got Tom Kenny, who did a voice of SpongeBob SquarePants as well. I think they killed it with the voice acting here, and they had a lot of talent on their side.
Yeah. Oh, I agree. I also gave it to the KND. They killed it with their voice acting. Recess, not horrible. Codename, just better.
They just had the talent.
Yeah. 2-2. So both shows are going to walk out with points. Humor is the last category. We finally get to it. Which show did you find funnier? I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to go first because I went with Codename Kids Next Door because there were some times I found Recess to be more cringy than humor.
With some of the stuff.
With some of their stuff, yes. Just like I didn't find like Spinelli was kind of funny. Gus was kind of funny because he was goofy. Mikey, I think, would try to be funny, but it's a fat kid that likes poetry. Nothing wrong with that. Just So it's just I found, but the KND I just found funnier. So, Sean, why don't you go next?
I had Kids Codename Next Door. I think it's like what you said. Recess was a little more cringy. I think they tried too hard to be like exactly like kids that age and that time period that the show was. Kids Codename Next Door didn't, and I think they just made every character themselves, and just the antics they would get into, some of the battles and stuff they would get into is just funny. I know it's weird to say like battle wise, but just their dialogue to me was a lot funnier.
Okay,
and it does help because I think they had a better cast.
Yeah. All right, Dave, go ahead.
Yeah, I went with Codename Kids Next Door here. I just thought, just between some of the main characters like number 4 and number 2, I thought the relationship between them two was hilarious. You got like the geeky inventions, and you got number 4 who's hot-headed, and they kind of get at each other and whatnot. I really thought there was quite a bit of humor in KND, and I thought they really killed it. Like you said, Recess has some spots where you're like, that wasn't too good. You guys could have done better there. But like you guys said, I really do think it comes down to the talent they brought onto the show.
Yeah, no, 100% agree with that. All right, so Codename Kids Next Door, again, the Cartoon Network show beats the Disney show for the second time in 2 weeks. 3-2. And so Codename Kids Next Door is going to get 10 points, but Recess is going to get 5. Earlier on, we also had Dan to Dan sweeping Promise Neverland. We had Gravedale High beating Hong Kong Phooey 3-1. Fat Albert beat Schoolhouse Rock 3-1. So, but I think we made the right decision by moving this into the main event because this was a lot more
Closer.
Yeah, closer, competitive.
It was. It was hard for me to pick between these two.
Yeah.
It really was.
So, now it didn't go 35 minutes like Naruto Shippuden and The Simpsons did several weeks ago. But
I don't think that record's being broken.
probably not. I know Bleach and Denver the Last Dinosaur almost broke it, but not.
Close.
Yeah.
Close. I was battling for Bleach's life.
Yeah. So, all right. So we got this upcoming Saturday night on Animated Hour Power. It's going to be Johnny Test versus Gravity Falls. Star Trek, the animated series versus Tarzan, Lord of the Jungle. Which, by the way, Sean, is going to be your wife versus my sister.
Scary.
We know who I'm rooting for. Your wife. Count Duckula versus SWAT Cats, the Radical Squadron, and excuse my language here, Bastard Heavy Metal Dark Fantasy versus Dragon Ball Z Kai. Animated Showdown next Wednesday is going to feature Steins Gate versus Inuyasha, the Pink Panther Show versus Wacky Races, Cow and Chicken versus the Fairly Odd Parents, and the main event is going to be Family Guy versus American Dad.
Ooh. I like all those matchups.
Yeah. So Eric will be back next week, so my judging is done.
Oh, so I get back to my political ways and sway his vote.
Yeah. Which you will definitely be able to do. So make sure to like and subscribe to the When Tunes Combined YouTube channel. Also, join the When Tunes Combined Facebook group, facebook.com/group/When Tunes Combined. Make sure to check out Dave on Twitch at TCXGodsend95. Check out Sean at TCX Reaper at TikTok, Twitch, and YouTube. Also, check out the Wrestling Through the Years podcast this Friday night, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Like and subscribe to the channel as well. I will not be on the show Friday night. I will instead be handing out candy to trick-or-treaters at my sister's house, dressed as either the Tasmanian Devil or Daffy Duck. I don't know if that has been decided yet. By the time this airs, it probably will have been decided, but right now it is not. And then also Dizzle97, the YouTube channel, Daniel's Gaming Universe, and also he's been pulling packs of sports cards and Pokemon cards as of late. Join him on his streams. The Unscripted Sports Show when Eric gets back in the country, and the Stabcast with Daniel and Mindy. And we will see everybody Saturday night for Animated Hour Power, episode 13. So we are just a few episodes shy of finishing this first leg of matches.
Whoop, whoop. Whoop, whoop.
All right. So we'll see everybody Saturday night.
Peace.